Hello, 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 everyone. My name is C, and I'm the owner of CLM Custom Designs on Etsy, as well as this YouTube channel. And if you remember me, then you know that prior to this long hiatus, I was interviewing entrepreneurs, small business owners, giving you the tips and the tea if you are new in this game. So this is the first startup again for the new season, and we have with us Miss Olivia. We're gonna quickly get the housekeeping stuff out of the way. Like, comment, and subscribe on my YouTube channel so you don't miss anything that we got going on here. I'm coming live every other week and dropping new videos every week. So again, thanks. If you're live in the chat, say hello. We'll be answering your questions. And now let's get to the meat and the potatoes. Let's meet Miss Olivia Heyward. Introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here. My name is Olivia Heyward. I am an entrepreneur. I have a small shop. It's called oliviaheyward.com, where I create handmade accessories, jewelry, other little knickknacks and homewares and types of things like that. And then I also own a YouTube coaching program with Amber Likens, and so that's called the what is it called? I'm like, what? Lost my words. It's called, because I wanted to say it's called A&O Show, but that's not what it's called. That is our channel, but it's called Create Content Academy, where I help people get online and start a YouTube channel and start creating more video content to market their business. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. So you can see she wears many, many hats, and there's other things that she do that she
I
didn't
know I'm not gonna
that
name
she
them all
didn't
over,
even
but
share with you, like her magazine. But she's got so much going on that could take up the whole entire segment. So okay. So we'll let it be at that. And full disclosure, I met Olivia through her coaching program. I took her coaching program, which brought me to this right here. So we'll get into that a little bit later. So anyway, you mentioned all those things that you do.
Mhm.
Let's get down to it. So when you first started, right? Because of course you didn't come out the gate doing all of this, right?
So
When you first started, you had a 9 to 5 like everybody else, right?
I did. Uh-huh.
So tell us where you were and then how you transitioned to where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been like a creative type of person. So most times when I've had like a regular 9 to 5, I've been either like a manager or I've been like I was a manager at New York and Company. I was a merchandising director. So I was in charge of like creating the aesthetic of the store and things of that nature. I moved on. I managed a Chick-fil-A, which that was totally different. And then I started managing a bridal store, and so that was not the last 9 to 5 job, but the that was supposed to be my last 9 to 5 job, and then I got sucked into another job after that, kind of by way, because I started doing before I started my small business or even helping people get on YouTube. One of the things that I did, which kind of helped people get on YouTube, but it wasn't in the way that I do it now, and it was basically I did the brands for small businesses. So women entrepreneurs who had brands, I did all of their websites, their logos, just kind of help them market their business through online avenues. And so I started doing that. I did that for the bridal store that I worked for. Then after the bridal store, it was my idea that I was going to kind of let that be my career. And then I started helping a school do it. School go online, get more digital, and from there that turned into a full-time job. And so started working there. And then during the pandemic, I had the opportunity through an investor and through just really people at this time. Prior to this, I had met Amber, my business partner, at the bridal store before I even moved on to the school, my last 9 to 5. And we started working together, and I told her she should start a YouTube channel. And from there, she did. I kind of helped her like from the ground up, started from zero, and coached her through starting her channel, building her business, growing her business. And from there, other people in her industry and other industries was like, oh my gosh, how did you do it? And so then people started asking us, because we started doing a show where we would go live every single week on Thursdays and do a show, which is coming back. I'm so excited. But we started out doing a show, and so everybody would be like, just how did you do it? How did you start YouTube? The branding. Everybody just noticed that she was just very aesthetically pleasing. She created amazing content, and so more people wanted to learn how to do it. And so that's how create content was born, just through people asking us for the information. People would ask her, and she was like, I didn't do any of it. Ask Olivia. Or for, like, obviously she created the videos, but as far as like her branding and kind of like really knowing the platform, because I would do a lot of research and learn about YouTube. I had been an avid YouTube watcher for years before I even was on there myself, or even encourage other business owners to get on there. And so from that, I just knew the power of the platform and what it could do, not only for you personally, but also for your business or whatever, creativity that you were into. So that's kind of how I started out. And so from there, I was able to quit my job during the pandemic and then just focus full time on or create content of business. And then around that same time, well, prior to that, around 2019, I started making button earrings. And from there, because I had experience back in my time of just wearing different accessories, that my ears were so sensitive, I couldn't really wear heavy earrings. I would literally like you lose my earrings. Like I would put them on, get dressed in the morning, have them on for a couple hours before I really have to take them off, put them in my purse, which would cause them to get lost or broken, or all the things. And so from there, I started making button earrings because they were super lightweight. I love the different things that I could, different fabrics and things like that I can use to make them with. So that's how it started. And then I got introduced to clay, and then I loved it from the moment I got a hold to it, because I could make earrings and they were so lightweight. I could literally wear like statement size earrings all day, never have to take them off, didn't have to worry about my ears hurting or burning or any of those things. So from there, I just started doing that, and I just love to be able to create something in that way, because prior to me starting my earring business, I had always created brands. And whenever you're creating brands, it's the other person's likings. Like I gotta create to their colors, their fonts, their, everything that they want, which I can kind of use my creativity on it a little bit, but for the majority of part of it, it had to be something that they loved, resonated with them. So I really still didn't have, opportunity to really get all the things that I loved out there. So with the earrings, it was like I can create whatever earrings that I want, and then you guys can buy them. Now, I obviously asked like colors and stuff like that. Once I started making, I started getting some feedback. But for the most part, when I'm creating earrings, I'm not thinking about anyone else. I'm just thinking about what I like, what have inspired me, and I get inspired by all different things, not just jewelry things, but like architecture. I get inspired by fashion. I get inspired by home design and home decor. And so, with that being said, it gave me the opportunity to basically create whatever I wanted to, when I wanted to, and
Gotcha.
then you gotta like it.
So
You love it.
that was a lot, but we're gonna unpack some of that. So we talked about kind of Amber and the A&O show. We're not gonna go into that deep, because I am gonna have the two of you guys on another segment to talk about kind of what you
Yes.
guys do together.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of focus in on your jewelry piece, right? Because you do a
Mhm.
lot. It's gonna be about the jewelry. So let's kind of go back when you were doing your 9 to 5s and you were doing all of that. Did you ever think at that point that you wanted to be your own business person in terms of something that you created? Was that a thought at that time, or?
Um, I think so. I've always been in that mindset. How I even got to Charlotte was wanting to create a business for myself. It wasn't an earring business, but like you slightly mentioned, I do work for a magazine, and so whenever I first moved to Charlotte, it was to work or to create my own magazine with another business partner of mine, Courage. So it was to create a magazine, and so that's how I initially got to Charlotte from Florida. I'm originally from Florida, and so yes, I would say it's always been in it's always been my mind that I would be an entrepreneur in a way. I grew up, my grandmother was an entrepreneur, and so I kind of by way kind of got instilled in me a little bit, and sometimes I don't even realize how much it did until I become older. So I think I kind of always had like a little knack for it, or I just, when people needed something, whether it be anything, people would just like come to me all the time for this or that, just because they knew I could do it. Or if, especially if it was something that needed to be made, they were like, "Oh, you can make that." That was always like the
Yeah,
consensus. So
yeah.
I didn't know exactly what business I would go into. Didn't think it would be an earring business, but I think I always had an idea that I would be an entrepreneur in some right.
So, what is a time span from working those jobs to actually getting to your own business? Now, I know you did some things in between. We talked about that,
Mhm.
but what is the time span from that start to actually creating the handmade jewelry business?
Yeah, so in 2019, I started making the jewelry. So I started making the button earrings, and I had started making them, and then Amber wanted some because she loves accessories. So I started making some for her and some for her team and things of that nature. But I really wasn't selling anything. So from there, because we were doing YouTube and on video all the time, people saw the earrings that I was making. And so I had like a natural marketing plan that I wasn't trying to have a marketing plan. So it was like I was making them not a business, just selling them or giving them away or whatever. That was in 2019. And then whenever I moved to, whenever I thought, I think, I feel like people started asking us, like, people started asking Amber, people started asking me, like, oh, I want to buy some earrings. Like, how do I get earrings or whatever? And so from there, a year span went, and then in 2020 I decided to launch my website. So in 2020 I launched my online website for my jewelry specifically. And so about a year span from like when I started creating them and then I launched, because one of the things about me, if you don't know me, I always want to like do that market research. I don't want to just like, oh, here I am selling this thing. I always kind of spend the time to kind of like make this thing and try it out, wear it, let other people test it out before I'm like just trying to put it out on the market. So that's kind of what I did for a year. I made earrings, I sent earrings to my friends, all of those things to kind of like try them out, and then kind of got their feedback and kind of also learned the craft itself, because like I said, I started out with button earrings, but once I figured out about clay, I was like all over clay. And so with clay, whenever you start making clay earrings, it is a learning curve. Like, you got to know about different things, and it's also a lot of equipment that you want to make sure you have, and all these little knickknacks. Like, you don't need all these things, but the more creative you want to be and to create different things and different techniques, you want to have the things to do it with. So it took about a year to like get everything under my belt. And so in 2020 is when I officially launched my website. And
That
I would say that's when I was officially for business.
right. So you said a lot of good things that I want to touch on. QZ Design says that you are literally an expert in so many things. So yeah, so that must mean you have to come back on the show to talk about some of those other things, or else we'd be here all night. But some of the things I want to touch on that you said that I think is really good. You talked about doing the research, right? You talked about making things for other people first, right? Kind of testing the market. And I think that's important because a lot of times people will get an idea and they'll just want to put it out there, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
not to say you can't do it that way, because some people do it that way, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
think it's much more prudent, right, to do your research, because when you put it out there, you're putting money into it and all of that. And if it doesn't work, you've spent this money, you might have to recoup some of it, investing
Mm-hmm.
in things like that. But I think it's more prudent to kind of do your research first. Testing out the market, looking at the product. Do you like this? And sometimes with businesses, you do have to give things away in the beginning. It just is what it is. You have to
Mm-hmm.
give it away and let people. And like you said, people saw what other people were wearing. Well, in order to do that, you got to give it to them and let them wear it. Let 'em test it out. Is it too heavy? Is the stem too long? Like, it's all these things. So I think that's a good point for people who are looking to get into business. You don't have to just jump right out there. You can take a year to do the research, especially if you're already working someplace else, so you have some income coming in. But really take your time to do the research. And that's something really that you're going to continue to do through business. So if you get in the habit of
Yeah.
doing it first, then you'll always be in the habit of doing that before you launch something new or
Mhm.
whatever else. So I would definitely say do your research, ask other people, let people see things, touch things, and find out what they want, what they like. Um, is definitely a good point. So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, because definitely you don't want to start this whole business on a non-viable product or service that you want to offer. Like you want it to be a viable thing. And so if you do your research, if you do that market research with your, ideal audience, then you'll kind of know what they love and what they like you know, and
Yeah.
even what they're willing to pay for it a lot of times too.
Yeah. I also love that it's earrings. Some people will think like earrings are everywhere. That's not reinventing the wheel, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's wearing earrings. Men wearing earrings, babies wearing earrings. Like everybody literally is wearing. So it wasn't that you came up with this major new thing, right? You're
Mhm.
like, hey, you feel the need. I like to wear earrings, but they're heavy.
Yeah.
So you feel the need. So even with that, a lot of times you'll hear people say, "Oh, the market is so saturated." If I had a half of a penny for every time somebody said that, I think I'd be a millionaire a couple of times over. But you don't get more saturated than earrings.
Mhm.
I mean, from the inexpensive ones all the way up to the expensive one. I mean, it runs the gamut. So for you to be able to get into that, right, and still
Mhm.
be successful, should let people know. Again, you don't have to reinvent everything. Just do your research, right?
Yeah.
Do
Do
your
your research, and especially I feel like when you say oversaturate, that made me kind of laugh because especially during the time that I started around 2020, a lot of the makers that are still making right now, like presently, a lot of us laugh and say that like the 2020 makers and those are the ones who started making in 2020, and I'm like right on the cuff of that because I actually started making in 2019 before like this big boom happened whenever 2020 and people were home. People started doing crafts. People started, a lot of businesses were birthed during that time.
yeah.
So, but it is really a lot of those people who started around that time, they are now quitting, right?
Wow.
They have
Okay.
now stopped. They've, sold all their stuff. So, yeah, so it's like, another thing I would say too, whenever you're starting a business, is it has to be something that you love. And so you mentioned it just a minute ago. I served a need that I had, and so it's so important as a business owner to do something that you absolutely love because that means, or you need, like you yourself love and want them. Like whenever I do sales, it's so funny. I do live sales on my channel, and I'm always like, I don't know if I want to put these up here. Like I want to shop my own sales. So it's like, it's so important because no one else can sell your stuff like you can. And a lot of times, and so you have to love it. You have to like think they're, whatever you're doing or whatever you're making is gorgeous. And because if you don't, you'll get burnt out on it and you'll be like, I'm over it. So you got to make sure it's something you love. And accessories is something I love. Like I've always been that type of person who loved accessories. Fortunately, I grew up with my grandmothers and my aunts. They were like dressing to the nines. So it was just,
Yeah. Natural.
embedded in me.
Yeah. I think it also speaks to when you said a lot of those makers aren't making anymore. I think that's the point too, because a lot of times people will open businesses just because they need money at the time. So it's COVID, people are getting laid off. Oh, let me just do this.
Yeah.
That is really not a good reason to start a business. You have to have a business mind because it is not instant
Mhm.
gratification. That's not
Really
what business
not.
is about.
Mm-mm.
And so they haven't sustained their stuff because now guess what? COVID's over. They got a job someplace else. You know what I mean? You have to have that entrepreneur bug, really, honestly. It's not just to fill a need for a time period. This is, for the long haul. So again,
Yeah.
when you're considering businesses and that, think about something you love, something that's going to be for the long haul. Because if you're just trying to do it quickly, it's not going to be sustainable. And it's an investment that goes into business. It's an investment. So
Yeah.
you know, you got to think about that when you're, trying to start something. So not that you can't start businesses, but you really need to go into it with all the facts and understand that it's an ebb and a flow, and it might ebb a long time before it flows. So
And that's on facts, right?
Yeah.
That's all facts. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so now we're into Olivia Hayward jewelry. I love the fact that you said you've worked with a lot of people and you've done a lot of things, and not that you didn't like them, but you didn't have an opportunity to express yourself within those things, right? Because you're
Yeah.
catering to someone else's needs, right? So the jewelry gave you an opportunity to kind of express yourself. So I absolutely like it. So now we're into the jewelry, and now you say you've gotten introduced to clay. So now how long have you actually been in business now?
Been in the my earring business.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I officially
2019.
launched it in I started in 19 making. I made for that year, didn't really sell, probably towards the end of that year, it started selling maybe the beginning of 2020. But then in April of 2020, that's officially when I launched my website. So from 20, so now into 2023, I'm still making. So yeah, this year I started doing a little bit more markets, which I've always sold online and through doing live sales online. And so this year I moved to a different city, and then I started doing more markets to kind of just get used to that. I did a couple markets before I left my old city or whatever, but just doing more now. So it's been fun.
Yeah. So opening in COVID had you pretty much online because
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
kind of shut down.
Yeah.
So you were already dabbling, like you said, into the YouTube thing or whatever. So would you say that YouTube really propelled your business immediately so that it was kind of like one of those overnight success kind of things? Um,
Yeah, I definitely think, especially in the beginning, it if I don't think. I mean, I guess, but I have never been like a huge poster on social media, even though I do social media. It's a weird thing. I've never been like a super over poster. Like I'll like post what I need to post, but I'm not like especially on like Facebook or Instagram. But YouTube, I feel like it's just something different about that. So whenever we started doing the A&O show, like I said, we were wearing the earrings. So Amber started, she would wear the earrings on her channel all the time. We started doing the show, we would wear earrings. And at this time I wasn't selling. We were just wearing them. So then we kind of, like I said, it was kind of like a marketing plan that you didn't know that you was actually doing. Like I didn't have the strategic plan to like, oh yeah, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna wear them for 6 months, and then no, we didn't. I did not have that plan, but it just organically happened that way. So it was like we were wearing them. Amber was wearing them on her channel. This is before I started really having my channel or whatever. And so we were just that. So people just kind of seen us wearing them. And it's one of those things, what I love about being on YouTube or any social media for that. When people see stuff on you or you using something, if they love it, they want to know like where can they get it from. That's just a natural reaction. Like, oh, I want to have that. I want to wear those, or I want to use this product, right? And so with that being said, that's what we kind of did in the beginning. So it allowed, when I launched it, for it to be more of a success than it probably ever would have been if I wasn't kind of marketing prior to it, like marketing it air quotes, because it
mm,
wasn't a true plan.
right, right. So let's talk about you were really a behind the camera person,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Hmm.
More so than an in front of the camera person, right?
Hmm.
So talk about how you kind of realized because even with your earrings, right? You were maybe making them, but Amber was really wearing them, or other people were wearing them in front of the camera because you're still behind the camera, even
Uh-huh.
through all of that. So tell me how you make the connection and the shift to say, I now need to get in front of the camera because there's a lot of people who don't want to be in front of the camera, right?
Hmm.
I was one of those people who never wanted to be in front of the camera ever, ever, ever. I couldn't really see the connection, and so I know that that frightens a lot of people or stops them sometimes. And not that you can only sell in front of the camera, because of course there's successful businesses and people aren't on YouTube.
Yep.
But um, to be more successful, right? If you want to be more successful,
Or also, I will also say not even more successful, but if you want to be successful and have a low point of entry, because if you're a standard sized business and you have the capital to do like marketing ads and be on TV or be in, big publications and all of these things, like you can pay your way to it and not be in front of the camera. But YouTube and being online, social media, Instagram, Facebook, all of those things, it allows you to market your business at almost zero cost. Obviously, it's your time, and sometimes once you start your channel, you have, you want to upgrade your equipment and get different things. So, it's going to cost you a little bit, but it's not going to cost you as much if you wanted to do like standard size marketing. So, I would say for me, I noticed that. Okay, so a couple things happened for me. I had started doing YouTube lives before I started my channel. I had started my channel, actually. I'll take that back. I started my channel, but initially my channel was like more of a hair channel. So my channel was more about me. I was documenting like my hair journey, because this is back when I think I had been natural, but I don't know what I was doing. I probably was. No, it was definitely before I had locks. So I don't know. But I was kind of documenting that on the channel. It was just like, didn't really know what it was. So then I really wasn't putting anything on the channel. Then once we started Amber's channel and it started thriving and all these kind of things, and then we start coaching, I was doing lives on Facebook, like jewelry sale lives, like sales. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, LuLaRoe had got really popular, right? And so LuLaRoe was on Facebook. A lot of the consultants, they were on Facebook, and they were like holding up their jewelry, selling it. I mean, not sorry, their clothing. Sorry, their clothing, selling it on live sales. And so from that, I decided, like, because coming off the heels of that, they were still really popular when I started. But I was like, okay, I was seeing that those LuLaRoe people, they was killing it. Okay, they were killing it with those live sales. So I was like, okay, what if I take what I have and try to replicate that in my type of way, right? And so initially I had started doing live make with me. So I wasn't selling, but I was just like making the earrings, and they were longer videos. I was going live. So I started doing this because at this point I realized I had been teaching this the whole time. So not even our YouTube coaching students, but even just the small businesses that I was working for, the women entrepreneurs, I was working for them. I was like, do video, do video, do video. That's all I had been preaching to them. And so once I told Amber to do video, and a lot of my clients, I had told them to do videos way before I even told Amber to do videos, and they didn't really listen to me. But
Imagine that.
I know they was like, okay, I'll do some videos. But they was like, they didn't hit it hard like Amber did when I first. Because even Amber, when I told her to do videos, she was like, I don't know about that. And then she kind of came around to it. And so because I had been preaching this, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why aren't I like, now that I have this product based business? Because before I was just creating, I was behind the scenes, I was just designing. But now that I had that product based business, I was like, okay, it's time. I have to listen to my own preaching and being like, you need to get online, and I need to start doing it. So I started doing that. And so that's kind of how I had that switch from getting from behind the camera to in front of the camera, because I realized, I already knew that video is so important, just to connect with your people. It's something different from like posting a picture of your product or service online to really just letting people hear your voice. They really fall in love with your character. They can really learn your personality. They can see like some of the things, the similarities, because when you are building an audience online, people, they don't know you in person. So the only thing they can do is pick up some of the things that you show them via video. So they can see how you respond to different things. They can see your inflections in your voice. They can see like, oh, they can find common threads in your life as to them. And they can be like, oh, we're so similar. Or maybe she's nothing like me, but I just love her anyways. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's so many different things that they can pick up when you create video that pictures or just posts writing text is not going to give them.
Yeah.
So I knew that, and so that's why I was like, I gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it probably still wasn't easy for you, even though you had to do it.
Oh,
Probably had
first of all, it
to
was It was not easy. It was not easy. And one of the reasons why it wasn't easy because I hated my voice. And so going live, that's why I initially started going live because I didn't have to edit it. I didn't have to do anything. I could just put it up. I could just really never listen to it again. So that was great for me. But then I was like, okay, lives are great, but the replay, just the lifetime, the lifespan of a live video, especially on Facebook, isn't that great. And so if I wanted my videos to have a longer lifespan that I knew I needed to get on YouTube, which means I had to edit, and I'm like, oh my God.
For sure.
Why do I have to listen to my own voice? But I really contribute like the doing it to making me so much more comfortable. I can actually watch my videos. I can never do this before. I can literally watch my YouTube videos now, like from start to finish. My husband, like on earlier, me and one of my other business partners, we used to make some videos together. And so he would play my YouTube videos on the TV in the house, and I would hate it.
Live, large.
I'm like, why are you doing this? I do not want to hear my voice right now. But nowadays, I can watch a video. I mean, I found myself sometimes watching my video even twice if I feel like it's like, oh, it's funny or it's cute or whatever. Especially like my vlog type content.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's practice, right? So the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. You just get more confident in yourself. Absolutely. And a lot of things that I hated right now today, I was hearing it earlier in this conversation. I was saying, it's something I've been making. I've made so many videos, and I'm still like a right? I still which I hate, by the way. But it's one of those things where like you cannot be that hard on yourself, right?
No,
just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's like I feel like the reward of me doing it and listening to my and all of those things is much greater than me not doing it.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of other people that say and they're saying, oh, she says just like me, and she's on camera. So you know what? It is what it is. And I always say sometimes you can do something just enough to hate it. Mm-hmm. So and videos could be that way. If you just do them here and there, you're gonna hate them and you're not gonna be consistent. So you have to just dig in and just do it. And all your flaws and all of that, it's your character. It's it's other people who are just like that. So yeah, you do have to get over that quickly because perfection, like me, it was like, oh, I have to edit everything. I'm not perfect. This shot is not good. And then after a while, you'd be like, look, I ain't got time for that. This is who I am, and you're either my people or you're not my people.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, like, the more you do it, the better you'll become. So even in the beginning, if I watch any of my beginning videos, I'm like, oh, that shot's not good, or that voiceover wasn't good, or that edit wasn't that good. But I don't think people understand the benefit of repetition. Like the benefit of repetition is so great because it's just gonna allow you to get better and better. Like I'm now more aware. Like before I used to say and it was like I didn't even think about it. Now I at least have a conscious a conscious thing that I'm like trying to not say it, right. But sometimes I still do and it's fine. Yeah. But now I'm more conscious of it because I have done it so many times. I've watched my videos, I've edited my videos. I'm a better editor. I'm a better content creator in general. Like I can put pieces of story together. So I feel like if it's something that you're interested in doing it, yes, you're not going to be great in the beginning. And we just gotta, nobody's great the first time they do anything, right? It's like, if I look at some of my old jewelry, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hideous.
Yeah, and that is the funniest thing when looking at your first projects and you be like, and I really thought I was doing something.
I know. I like, even if I look at some of my old graphic design work, like if I look at like my old work, I'm like, what was I thinking? Yeah. But it's like all and it's like the longer you do something, the better you become, the better equipment you can buy, the better classes you can take. And also one of the things people don't understand is like continuously learn. Like if you don't know how to do something, I've taken so many editing, did so many editing classes, so many YouTube classes, so many things to help. Like I constantly invest in things to help me be a better maker, to be a better creator, to be a better graphic designer. So those things work too. Like sometimes it's not just time, sometimes you need education as well. So I think that's very important too, to
Yeah.
like invest in yourself, educate yourself. If you don't know something, get with it somebody who does know it, who can teach you as well.
Yeah, yeah. Serena says that's one thing that people love about supporting small businesses. They feel that connection that isn't present with the big commercial brands. And I would definitely agree with that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. But yeah, you definitely, being a business owner isn't just about the product that you deliver, it's about the back end too.
Mhm.
You have to keep learning, you have to keep digging in, changing, making things different because market trends change on a regular basis. So
Mhm.
for sure, you cannot stick to just, the one thing. You got to continue to educate yourself and, have good people around you who can say, hey, okay, now it's time for you to shift and to do something different and, so on and so forth. So I definitely would have to agree with that. So let's talk about some of the things that when you were first getting started, you would have known could do differently. And we got some creators in our chat boxes that are yet on YouTube,
Mhm.
um, that need to hear this, because QZ says you're always telling her to get in front of the camera, and that's true. And even if it's not for to sell, but it also gives your product a broader audience because you might be on Etsy, you might be on Shopify or whatever, but there are people on YouTube who are looking for things. And so
Mhm.
even if it gets your product or your name out to a broader audience, you know,
Mhm.
even that. And now you have so many options, right? Because you got shorts. You don't have to do videos. You got the short content that you can do. I will say with both of these creators, I do know that they do a lot of reels and things like that. So I know that they're dipping their toes in the water.
Mhm.
Definitely. But we know how much we scroll on YouTube looking for stuff, right?
Mhm.
So other people are doing the same thing. So just like we're seeing other people, they could be seeing you. So,
Yeah.
think about it from a lot of ways. But um getting started, the things that you wish you would have known to do differently. Talk a little.
Um, yeah, so one of the things that I will always say is this thing comes to like not so much like I wish I would have known, but sometimes it's like I wish I would have implemented. And so some of the things that I wish I would have implemented in the beginning was being really strategic about, especially earlier on in the beginning. Like I wish I used a different platform in the beginning for my website, but I wish I would have um, kind of did more, gathered more SMS. So email marketing is great, right? But it is nothing like whenever I do a email blast versus a SMS blast, the return on the email or SMS is always greater on the SMS, right? And that's a text message. And so I wished in the beginning of my business I would have collected more text, more phone numbers for my business because it is such a bigger and greater return on that text message and email now because so many people get, 30, I got like 30,000 emails in my box, you know what I'm saying? So they kind of get lost in the sauce. And I feel like with text messages, if you do it right, right? Because one of the things is you can email some, people way more than you can text message before they're like, get me off this list. Get me off this list. So that one of the things that I do always promise, and I do is I make sure I'm not sending my list, more than 2 or 3 texts per month, so that whenever I do send a text message, it packs a punch, and they're like, "Oh, I want to be in this." So I do think I could have did that a little bit better in the beginning, is to just to collect more text, more phone numbers,
Mhm.
so that it's just great for marketing that way. So that's one of the things that I wish I would have did. Another thing, I'll just add one more thing, is I wish, especially back in 2020, 2021, everybody was at home, everybody was watching videos and YouTube and all that kind of thing. So I wish back then I would have been more present on YouTube, because I feel like I would have been able to catch that little 2020 growth on YouTube a lot
Yeah.
faster, because I didn't. During that time, I started. Amber was on YouTube and she was growing, and then we kind of started coaching towards the end of 2020, going into 2021. But I wish I was creating videos in 2020 because
Yeah.
it would have been out of here. Like I felt like I probably would have been, I don't know how many, because people was just at home watching
Yeah,
videos.
you're right. So true. Funny what you said about the email because I can tell you I unsubscribe to so many email foolishness, but I have never told anybody to take me out of a text group or text whatever. I don't know. I just will look at it and
Yeah,
keep scrolling. But
yeah, I know. You just
funny.
go, like you look at information and you just go. I feel like, especially if a person isn't overusing the phone number, like there's been times where even companies, I tell you, I literally just unsubscribed to a company that I was on their text message list. And they didn't even send that much, but I just realized I'm never gonna use them. So I
Right.
don't know why they're still sending me. I know it's like it was one of those companies where I'm like, I'm probably never gonna buy anything from them again. And not because it was a bad company, or I just don't need, I just didn't really need
Yeah.
to receive their text because I'm not, it's not something that I'm actively buying anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I just gotta, but most people, if they send, one or two texts, three texts a month or whatever, they're just not like constantly texting you every day, like you don't mind it.
Mhm.
So I think if more people in business, I love that Shopify has that integrated into their website, into their platform, so it makes it a lot easier to collect phone numbers and also send out those text blasts. So I think it's super important. So if you are not doing it right now, I would highly suggest setting up some type of SMS text and start, even if you don't send text out right now, start figuring out a way that you can capture the text message. One of the things I do, because I do have a product based business and I do have launches, one of the things that I tell my clients is they want to join the text squad, right? So I make it a thing. A lot of times when I'm talking to any of my clients or coaching students or whatever, it's like whenever you're trying to do something, make it a thing. People want to feel included and they want to feel like it's something exclusive that they are in. And also it's giving their telephone number. So it's kind of like you want to make it like make them feel comfortable with doing that. And so yeah, I say join my text squad so you can get the first notification. So anytime I do a sale or I do a launch, I send out my text blasts first. Like they're the first people that get like new stuff is on the website and stuff like that. So I kind of make it a thing to where people want to join, because so many times we were like, oh, I missed it. And because my earrings are one of a kind, I really don't make a lot of duplicates of anything. They kind of want to be on there because they want to know when they drop. So I would say come up with an idea of how you can make your text or joining your text something exclusive, something that a little bit extra that you're going to give to that person to feel comfortable and make them want to give you their phone number. And then even if you don't use it right now, as you start to just kind of build on that, then when you have a launch or when you have something special, then you can send that text blast out. And a lot of times those numbers, like, because Shopify will break down like, okay, how much money did you make from the text blast versus my email blast? And 100% is always bigger on the SMS side.
Right. Now I tell you, and we have these discussions all the time because I'm very hard headed when it comes to business. But I just had like an epiphany because I promise you, y'all been telling me about collecting phone numbers for a long time, and I'm like, nah, I'm not even about that life. Like that's too much. These landing pages and these funnels, and measuring cups and all kind of stuff y'all got going on, right? But just now, when I heard myself say, I unsubscribe from emails, but I don't from text, and I'm the girl that someone will text me and be like, "Hey, Joey," and I'm like, "You got the wrong number," but yet I'm still having this conversation with you, and I don't even know you. So okay, I just had my moment. I'm gonna get mine. It always takes me to have a real life moment to understand that y'all know what y'all be talking about, right? That was my moment. If you know, you know. Um, Anywho, yes, I'm gonna work on that. And May Love says she's gonna work on it too because she needs to try text. Absolutely, absolutely. So, okay, guys, you heard the gem drop. Get your texts, even if you're not gonna use them. Create your list so you will have them whenever you need them. And I heard something else you said that I absolutely love that I've been trying to incorporate is making runs of things, right? So not unlimited, Not I want that. Nope. This I have this many. When it's gone, it's gone. It creates a buzz, and it allows you people to want more. So I love that too, because whatever business you're in, whether you're making T-shirts, cups, whatever, you can make a run of a certain amount and say, hey, once it's gone, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and so that creates an interest in people to get it now because it's not going to be around. Also, you talked about having your live sales, which is also something that nice to say, hey, I'm coming on live. I'm going to sell these items, and once they're gone, they're gone. So I've been to some of those sales. It's a little crazy, but it does definitely. I'm not even sure. I think you cheat sometimes, but I'm not going to get into that. You know what I'm saying?
First of all, everybody thinks I cheat. I don't know why that's like a
That's
running
just
thing.
me. But anyway,
Everybody like, that was mine. You
yeah.
didn't see. I'm like, it's not me. It's not me.
So if you haven't been to one, you definitely got to check it out. Okay, so we talked about some things that people should be doing, especially now, because we're those were things that you wish you would have done now, but the people who are getting started can take advantage of those things.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you did that weren't so productive that you was like that you could tell people like, don't do this?
Don't do this. Let's see.
Is there anything?
Is there anything? Don't do this. I don't know. That first of all, I felt like I was gonna have a stinger. That was a stinger right here. I don't know. I can't think of anything that I'm like, oh, don't do that. I'm sure it's something, but I cannot think of anything at the moment that I'm like, I shouldn't have did that.
Okay.
I can't think of anything.
That's a good thing. You didn't have any foibles in your business as you.
I'm
um,
sure I did. I just cannot think
yeah, you
of
probably
anything.
can.
Oh, I can think of one thing. I can.
Okay.
I got it. It came to me. This is the thing that I wish I should have did, and I'm still constantly working on this thing. And one of the things that we teach in our course and just in general, like taking advantage of what they call like peaks, right? So when there's peaks in the season or things like that. So like one of the things that I'm notoriously late on is like holiday collections or like when fall comes or when Christmas comes or when whatever these dates come, like sometimes I'll hit it, but I never can hit like all of them because I'm like always a day late, a dollar short, like with the collection. So I would say pay attention to things. Now, even if you're not a jewelry maker or you're not making products, like when is a time where something is very popular in your niche, like hit that, right? Because or when is something happens, like I know during it's so funny because I was literally just saw this and they were at the Beyonce concert. And I just thought about this the other day. I literally just thought about this last night. But this is the thing that you have to be aware of, or wish I was more aware of. So like the other day I saw someone, you guys know, I don't know if you guys know, but that Alabama thing happened, right? And so everybody was making, or I saw several people making like folding chairs on t-shirts, folding chair earrings, all of these things. Now I probably would never made that just because I don't
Right.
I barely make something that I wouldn't wear, and I'm not about to wear no folding chair earrings, okay? But you reminded me because whenever I was watching this person do a reel from when they were at the Beyonce concert and they had on the chair earrings, I had an epiphany that why didn't everybody around here going to the Renaissance, to the Beyonce concert, why didn't I make a Beyonce collection? Why did I make like silver? Like, why did I make something that people wanted to buy to wear at the Renaissance? Like, it never even because the Taylor Swift, that thing happened first. Everybody was doing like Taylor Swift type of, because she was on tour before Beyonce, and I'm like, those are the things that I wish I could like think about. And some of those things are like, okay, when you hear that it's like a big thing, that's when you have to jump on it. You can't really pre-plan. But then there's some things like holidays and things that come around every single year in your industry or in your niche, that it's like, okay, strike that iron while it's hot. Like, people are looking for these things, people are wanting these things, like, go ahead and make them. And so that's what I would say. That's one of the things that I wish I would have done, and constantly I'm telling myself to do
Gotcha.
better with.
But
Hmm.
you know what? Now, you saying that resonated with me because okay, so in our line of our businesses where we make t-shirts and different things like that, of course we can't copy people's work because it's copyrighted, right?
Yeah.
But when you say like make a Beyonce collection, that could just mean glitter. It could just mean
Yeah.
over the top. It doesn't have to mean that you're copying
Hmm.
something that she owns, right? Which I never thought about that. Every time somebody says something, I'm like, I ain't doing it's copyrighted. Look, I'm not going to jail behind a bee on something, a beehive. I ain't gonna do it, right? Not
Yeah.
coming in and taking my heat press for that. No.
Exactly. No, but you
But
could just
yeah,
it's the thing about it is everybody's wearing like silver and glitter and metallic. So it could be
yeah,
as simple as making like a metallic,
for
something
sure.
metallic on a shirt, or
Yeah,
I could have been making like fringe, like people
yeah,
wearing boots and
yeah.
fringe and all that kind of stuff. I had all kind of ideas of what I could have made in my head, but it's like a little too late.
Right, right. But
you
that's
know?
it. You know, you saying that again, right? That is something to consider because you can. That's one of those limited collections we're talking about. Okay, here's the Beyonce collection, and it's only going to be for X amount of time. But yeah, so there's a way to capture those things without capturing those things without copying and doing
Exactly.
things like
Or, trying to do copyright infringement.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's like taking whatever that moment is and being able to um capture in your way, like in whatever your industry or your niche is, right? So it's like, how can you take that? And all the big brands are doing it. That's the thing. All the big brands are doing it. They have this Beyonce this, whatever, Taylor this, whatever. All of them doing. They're not, doing any copyright infringement,
right,
but they're just making it to where this is like the Beyonce thing or whatever, or Taylor Swift or whoever is doing whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's those types of things that you have to be mindful and kind of listen out for. But simple things like those, like are some of the things that's like you gotta know, like you gotta do, like you gotta see it happening and you gotta act on it right away, right? But then there's some things that, like right now, we're getting ready for fall, we're getting ready from Christmas. So it's like, what can you do in your industry or your business? Are you getting, because like August and September, you should be preparing your mind, your heart, your spirit for the holiday time. Like you should be figuring out exactly what you're going to launch, exactly what your offers are. Don't try to wait until November to figure that stuff out. Like it's going to be too late. So that's what I would say that I regret and constantly have to remind myself, like, be prepared, have a plan, and be on top of that.
Yeah, yeah. So that means sometimes we have to come out of that creative space and we have to sit down and do because as creators we don't like to be sitting down writing and do. We want to be in the studio making stuff, right? We don't care about what
Mhm.
happens on the back end. We just want to put out all these pretty colorful things. But
Yeah,
sometimes you got to work your whole entire business. Every part of your business you have to touch within a week's time, if not every day. You got to touch every part of that, or else you will miss out on those big opportunities. And I know that that's certainly one thing that I'm guilty of. I'm so busy, like, oh, let me make this, let me make that, but not planning it out or whatever. And then you have all this product that's way off base. Like I got graduation stuff and graduate over with. You know what I mean? So yeah, you definitely have to plan and be strategic about what you're doing. Absolutely. So yeah, I've definitely enjoyed this time. Let's talk about where people can find you if they want your jewelry. And I don't know why I don't have any on. I was like crazy. Really not a lot.
well, you guys can find me at oliviaheyward.com. It's just my name. You can also find me on Instagram at Olivia Heyward, Facebook at Olivia Heyward, everywhere at Olivia Heyward. And so, yeah, check me out. If you are interested in getting handmade accessories, make sure you join my tech squad so you can know when I launch new things and you can know like when I have special promotions. I also have what is it called? It's something on Instagram where it's like a little private group. I have that as well, so you can join that. I do like sneak peeks and, when I'm working in the studio, I share a little stuff in there. So join that if you want to. And obviously, I make all my jewelry a lot of times on my YouTube channel. So check me out on YouTube at Olivia Heyward. That's where I take you behind the scenes of me making the jewelry, also of me just like working in my studio. I've been taking you guys on a lot of vendor events that I've been doing lately. So it's just an opportunity to kind of see the behind the scenes and how I create. I will say that too, just as a tidbit to the entrepreneurs that are watching this either now or either in the replay, is that one of the things I learned early on with creating my jewelry online, because a lot of times people get afraid of like, oh my gosh, if I show them how I'm doing it, then they're going to steal my idea or they're going to do it. Like, you cannot, that might happen. It has happened, but you cannot worry about that, because what is for you is going to be for you. But one of the things that I learned about sharing that process and showing process is people get invested and like knowing how things are made. And most time people, all the steps that I do, half the people say they ain't doing that.
Sorry about that.
Most 75% of the people who watch me, like, I just love to watch, but I'm never doing this. So that's number one. But bring people in behind the scenes of what you're doing. Like, even if it's your day to day, if it's whatever you're creating, like, bring people in, because people love to see like that inside. They love to see how things are created, how things are made. If you think about some, the popular brands out there, even restaurants, like restaurants who like show you like when you can see them cooking up front, like it's always like a better or different experience. Yeah. That's why, like, when people are cooking at the table, those are like always the fun restaurants to go to, because people love to like see how things are being made, see the intricate details behind your creation or your product or your service. So think about ways, if you do any type of social media, like think about ways to how you can bring your audience into your space, into your world, and kind of share that behind the scenes of how you do what you do, because it's a special time and only you can do it. And if someone copies you, it's probably not going to be as good as you anyway.
Right. And I think it also helps people to appreciate value. Like sometimes they see a price and they're like, oh, this little thing. But then when they see what all goes into doing that little thing, then it's like, oh, now I can appreciate where the pricing piece comes in. And even if you don't want to do YouTube, and I know Etsy does this now, they give you spaces where you can put little video clips in of what you do. So just take advantage of that. Maybe you don't want to be in front of the camera like that, but even on your Etsy sites or your websites, put in little video clips of what you're doing. Or you can make a video or a short just showing your hands of what you do. It doesn't have to be your face, but just showing you making it, because people appreciate your craft. They can get to see the quality and everything that kind of goes into it. And it really gives them a different perspective, because, you look at something and you think, oh, that's easy. And then you realize,
no, exactly. Yeah. I love that you have a way different appreciation for it once you know like what it really takes to make it. And I love what you said too, like you don't have to show your face. You really don't. There's so many faceless YouTube channels, it's not even funny. And I would say 75% of the time on my channel, you don't see my face. You hear my voice, because I'm doing whatever. Yeah. So yeah, if it's something that you're interested in to do, don't think about like, oh, I got to show my face. Like, you really don't. There's different ways that you can record and film, and just like you said, do reels, do shorts, do videos on your websites or on your Etsy. It's gonna bring people in a lot more than just seeing a picture of it.
Absolutely. I would agree. Okay. We have talked about many things. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. We could go on and on and on, but we won't, because we will see you again at least 2 more times before this whole thing is over with. So, or at least one time. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to having you and Amber back to talk a little bit about A&O. And if you are in the chat and you have not already signed up to get on a segment with me, definitely reach out. Hint to some of you in the chat that I have not, interviewed yet. Hop on with me so we can talk about what you do and where people can find you. So you don't have to worry about doing videos. You can just come do my videos. No problem. I'll put you out there. Anyway, thanks for being active in the chat, you guys. Thank Olivia for coming on. Remember, Olivia Heyward, that's all you got to remember. Or OH, I think you'll find her that way too, because she's oh so pretty. So you can find her things all over the place. So make sure you go to her channel and subscribe. Go to her website, check out what she does. She has beautiful things And every now and again, you might be able to even put in a special request and get that done every now and again. So be sure to check it out, guys. So I'm going to sign off until I see you guys again, which will be in 2 weeks. We'll have the next person up. And in the meantime, you can check out the replay if you weren't able to get into the live. So I'm going to sign off now. Olivia, you're going to stay on with me.
Bye.